This is subjective. Make dilations on a graph, section 3.5, okay? So dilation, think about, where have you guys heard things being dilated before?
Eyes.
Your eyes, okay? And what does that mean when your eyes are dilated, or your pupils are dilated? They get bigger and smaller based upon how much light they're trying to take in, right? Okay? So if they're trying to take in a lot of light, they actually end up get bigger, okay? So they get smaller, They don't need as much light getting in, and when you don't have much light, they end up getting bigger, right? So if you have the lights off, and then you turn your lights on, you end up looking at someone's eyes, and the pupils get like end up shrinking a lot, right? And you turn the lights back off, and they get bigger, okay? Because it's dark, yep. Okay, so dilation is the enlargement or reduction of a figure. So it's getting enlarged or reduced. It's getting bigger or smaller. We have this thing called the scale factor. Indicates how much the figure will enlarge or reduce. Now, have you guys ever heard of something called being a scale model?
No.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, like 1/8 scale.
You do commercials for scales.
What?
For scales.
No. Okay.
Your scale model.
Okay. That is the pinnacle of humor, I will not lie. Okay, that's pretty good, okay? So I love your commitment to slowly explain more. By the way, that was well done, okay? Ireland, where have you heard it before? I saw you nodding your head.
Like in science on test that says this isn't drawing scale.
Yeah, like an atom, for example, on a science test, okay? Like you're gonna have an atom and it's gonna be super blown up. And obviously it's not the scale because an atom's really small, right? You can't see it normally, okay? And so it's a scale model. Everything's made bigger, but it's all made bigger proportionally, okay? Meaning you don't just have part of it being made way bigger and part of it being made a little bit bigger. It's all being made the same amount bigger. Does that make sense? Okay? Or on a cereal box, you might have a piece of cereal on the front and it says enlarged to show detail. Okay? Or it says not actual size. That is being scaled. It's not like it's disproportionately bigger, but it's just being scaled bigger evenly. Does that make sense? Okay? Or a model car or a model of a building. Okay, they'll be scaled down. Okay? So that's where we go with the scale factor. Factor means what operation? Multiplying. Very good, Dominic.
Good job.
So the variable for the scale factor is going to be K. So the variable for our scale factor is going to be K.
Wait, why cursive?
So if it's not curved, it's just a regular K. Okay. When K is greater than 1, the dilation is going to be an enlargement. So when you multiply by a number bigger than 1, it's going to make it bigger. Does that make sense? You multiply something bigger than 1, you're going to make it bigger. But if K is less than 1, the dilation is a reduction. It's going to make it smaller. So if you multiply by bigger than 1, it's going to make it bigger. If you multiply by smaller than 1, it's going to make it smaller.
What does K stand for again?
The scale factor.
It says it on the
What? Why didn't we just make it SN?
Tom.
Because that'd be 2 letters, and that'd be annoying.
What is?
So if,
Wait, don't say no.
wait, okay.
Keep going?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I was gonna ask a question about this, but you probably
Okay,
didn't explain it.
so we're going to graph and label this figure. So our first step is to graph the figure. So R is at -5, -1. And now notice these are no longer 8 by 8 grids. These are now 10 by 10 grids. So those of us who are just counting by 8s, we have to adjust our methods here.
No.
My methods were so good.
Why do this to me? Question mark.
Because otherwise things won't fit when you start making things bigger and smaller.
Well, then just don't make it as big.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
My
You just killed us. Can't get your raisins for dead.
That's not true.
That is true.
I guess we'll see what happens.
Well, you can't
Okay.
tell us if we're dead.
Still not
Well,
true.
we can't cry for dead, so you don't get any raisins.
What are you gonna
That's
do?
true.
Come into the afterlife and yell at us and come back?
Maybe.
Wait, mine's not like
He's
mine.
different like that.
What?
Oh, it's -1, not +1. I done good.
Equals 2?
Does
I don't
Toppy
know.
what he does?
Oh, wow, that's no.
Wow, what
No,
a
that
Your
is
shape
triangle.
doesn't look all right.
What a triangle. This is a great triangle.
That no,
What?
it's different than mine.
Well, yours is wrong.
Oh yeah, it is. You're right.
Okay, good talk.
They aren't ever right though. I think.
Okay, So when it has a scale factor of 2, we're literally just going to take every single coordinate and multiply by 2. So it says k equals 2. So instead of negative 5, comma 1, we're going to have negative 10, comma 2. Instead of negative 3, comma 4, it's negative 6, comma 8. Instead of 2, comma negative 1, it's 4, comma negative 2. We just multiply all of them by 2.
Oh, that makes me feel okay.
Yeet.
You didn't do your job, Mr. Consul.
Not yet.
It's
Once again, it's all a big process of building up and tearing down, okay? I'm playing the long game here.
4-2.
I don't do that.
PTSD for life.
That's the goal.
Wow, wrong message. Wrong
Wow,
message.
baby.
Overlap. Ish.
Man.
Ish.
Ish.
It doesn't overlap, but one's inside the other, right?
That's like that one had a baby.
Yeah. It's like it was holding hands with someone in the hallway and had a baby.
Oh!
Them hand holding.
Oh, I did that wrong. Don't do that. It
Okay.
doesn't overlap. Wait.
Hi, lady.
There
you go.
Did you do your
I don't think so. Wait, yes.
I think you did.
Oh.
I did my S prime wrong.
What does prime mean?
The new one?
Oh, okay.
We've gone over this so many times.
No, we have. Well, I haven't. Yeah, I mean, I haven't.
What do you mean you
Haven't
haven't?
you? You've been here all
I was in my own little mind.
Yeah, I can tell.
I'm wrong, man. I'm positive you have a mind.
What else is in there?
Oh, that doesn't look good.
Okay,
It's overlapped a little
that's better.
bit, Almost. No.
Wait a minute. You're saying a one?
So it's just like we took it and made it bigger.
Wait,
What?
is your R at positive 1 or not? The Y coordinate for
The
R?
my original R has a coordinate.
No, your prime one.
Is that positive? Oh, it should be a positive 2. My goodness!
Okay.
I messed that up.
Gosh dang it, Mr. Castle. Now mine looks like yours.
How did he affect
Good
that?
catch, Bill.
Yay!
Bill did
You wrong.
something
I'm right. Woo!
once.
You know, we messed up with his teeth.
Okay.
That looked all right.
Billy.
Look, he messed up with his R.
Okay. Questions on that?
Why are you going
So as far as getting the coordinates, is it really that bad?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay. I want you guys to try number 2.
You actually.
Yeah. Okay, let's go ahead and go up here. So rectangle A, B, C, D, negative 3, comma 0 for A, 1, comma 2 for B,
What's up, big boy?
C is at 2, comma 0, and D is at negative 2, comma negative 2. And here our scale factor is 3, so we multiply everything by 3. So negative 9, comma 0, 3, comma 6, 6, comma 0, and negative 6, comma negative 6.
What if I have to do that correctly?
Wait, is that a 0 or a 6?
That's how wrong it is.
0.
Alright.
I did it. I think. I'm so smart.
My shape looks wrong, but I think it's right.
My shape looks wrong, but I think it's right.
I think it's a carrot.
Perfect sense.
Man.
Are we gonna have homework over this? Even if we don't
We've
know.
never said
What
that.
kind of question is that, Gage?
Yes.
You gave us 2 lessons in one day. Do we deserve homework? No, we don't.
Yes, we do.
You know, I almost.
Questions on number 2.
Go back to your AP classes and leave us alone.
Okay. Go ahead and
Number 4. Oh, wait, never mind.
Pick the number 3.
let's try number 3.
Hey,
When you have it or have questions, raise your hand. Okay.
Mine looks like a
So 10 comma or negative 10 comma 2, negative 2 comma 8, 6 comma 2, and negative 2 comma negative 4. This one's ginormous, isn't it?
that looks like a diamond. Why didn't they just say
Oh, that's,
diagonal square?
I already got it wrong then. Nailed
That's
it.
what a rhombus is. So scale factor of 1/2, so multiply everything by half. Negative 5, 1, negative 1, 4, 3, 1, and negative 1, negative 2.
How do you divide by 3/4?
You multiply by 3 over 4. Dividing by 2 is multiplying by a half.
Oh yeah.
No, I don't want to.
So you have to go through each number and multiply it by.
I'm not
Yep.
going down and trying. I'm not even gonna get it.
That's music to my ears.
Even change it, right? Right? No.
Is that a correct, Jacob?
Yes. No.
By multiplying by the reciprocal.
You just wondering.
Yeah.
Okay,
Change it
Yeah, but that's not really what we're doing.
Oh, my thing looks
Yes, it's a card. Do you want to join?
Okay. Questions on number 3.
No, I'm good.
We're not doing
Okay.
My first name.
Let's move on to
Yes,
I
we're
was
not
going for not easy, but he took the pay.
5? What?
Oh,
What
that's
is 5?
You multiply the top and the bottom.
5 twos.
let's go on to 8. No, let's go on to 9.
9. No, I'm done that one.
3 twos.
Okay, voices off, please. So you're given the original, but do we know the points yet? No, so it might be a good idea to start by writing those down.
-1. 6. No. Yeah.
4.
So Q is at -1, 4.
These.
R is at 1, 2. S is 2, -2. And T is 0, -2. Is that correct?
We're back to the normal graph.
Okay, now in this we have a scale factor of 3/2. 3/2, meaning we multiply each of these by 3/2. Well, what's -1 times 3/2?
I have no idea.
3 twos.
No, give it to me again.
What's -1 times 3/2?
1 in there.
35.
I have no clue.
What's -1 times literally anything?
Negative 3/2.
What?
The negative version of that. Now, if you want, may it be easier by a bit to put us in decimal? I think so. So -1.5.
5.
Sometimes it's helpful to do this multiplication off to the side.
Wait, that
What is 4 times 3/2? Put the 4 over 1 maybe? It is 6. Does that make sense?
No.
1.96.
No? We're multiplying each number by 3/2, and that's our new one. So if I multiply -1 by 3/2, I get -3/2, which is the same thing as -1.5. We're just saying decimals are a little bit easier to graph with. Does it make sense how we get the numbers, or are you wondering how we graph the decimal? Okay, well go ahead and get these numbers at first, and then we'll graph the decimals in a moment.
Put it in the middle.
So you just multiply each individual number by 3/2.
Oh,
So we're multiplying with fractions.
Not that bad. You look like-
I don't know. 3. Sure.
We should do the same.
My head actually goes there. Actually, I'm headache now.
You mean you have a headache?
I just write-
It's like.
I don't know why here. I was going to get a headache now.
they rejected Max.
That's good.
Okay.
I think that's right. I don't know.
So R, 1 times 3/2 is just 3/2, right?
Yes.
So that's 1.5. 2 times 3/2, though.
Went back to
3.
8.
So 2 times 3/2 is 3.
Trace.
And will that help us on S?
And
Yeah.
Yeah, because and T. So we have 3 and -3, and 0 and -3.
Yay.
Questions on how we got any of those numbers?
A question
Okay.
why we have to
So now if we're graphing it, -1.5, what two numbers is that going to be between?
2 and 1.
-2 and -1. Is it going to be halfway between or closer to one than the other?
Closer one
Halfway
to the other.
between.
Halfway, because it's 0.5. So go halfway between -2 and -1 and go up 6. And that's our Q prime. So you go halfway between -2 and -1 and you go up 6. For R prime, go halfway between 1 and 2 and go up 3.
I didn't know the graphs were back to normal.
Yes.
I know. They're amazing.
It's not that much bigger when you really look at it.
No, because we didn't double it. We just made it bigger by
3 twos.
50%, by 3/2.
Wow, dog.
Yeah,
Three
it's 3
twos.
twos.
By 3 twos.
No, 3 twos.
Yes. Questions on number 9.
Why do we have to do it?
It's kind of weird, isn't it?
So weird.
Okay.
I don't like it. Comment.
Okay, continuing on. Let's look at 11.
Oh.
11, we're trying to identify what the scale factor is. Now, for this, just like we identified the translations before, we said what might be easiest is to pick out 1 point from each image, from the pre-image and the image. So what might be 1 point that we want to pick out on this pre-image? Okay, maybe D or E. Why would it might be easier to do D and E?
Because they're on an axis.
Okay, because they're on an axis, okay? So one of the coordinates is 0. So which one do we want to choose? Raise your hand for D. Raise your hand for E. Okay, D. Okay, so D is currently at 0, 6, correct?
Yes.
So 0, 6. And what's D prime at? 0, 2. So it's, you have to be careful we go from one to the other, right? We're going from our original to our new one. So how do we get from 6 to 2? What would we multiply by?
1/3.
1 over 3.
Yeah, I knew.
I want you guys to try number 12. Great question. So if we're going from the original to the new, we have to get smaller. So it should be less than 1. Yep, but if this one was the original and this one was a prime, then it would be 3. Great question.
You want us to try 12?
I want us to try 12.
Oh, wait, no, homework is legal. Yeah, how about Max's all of our homeworks?
Oh, okay.
Okay.
That's fine.
Max doing all our homework.
We'll have it sooner, actually.
Tuesday, Max.
Yeah, I'm changing it. Okay, so what's our scale factor here?
4.
What?
4.
The scale factor is 4. If you pick one of them, maybe X might be a good one to pick. We go from 2, 0 to 8, 0. Well, how do we go from 2 to 8? Multiply by 4. Questions on that?
Why was I wrong?
No, that's
actually my guy behind. I have failed.
Don't do
Do you like my date?
number 3.
November 2nd, 2000.
That makes sense.
Uh-huh.
Don't do 3 or 8. Don't do 3 or 8.